Hi, my name is Sky and welcome to St. Joseph. He asked me what I would like to see happen in the community in St. Joseph. I would definitely like to see more ways the locals could make money from tourists in stalls or locations. They could show their crafts or anything, so I feel that would be great. Get out there and try to do more things in nature because I grew up, I love to surf, anything to do with the ocean, that's me. And I think people need to just chase some things, do the goals, you get me?
My name is Wendy. I would like to see sports come back in St. Joseph. We had basketball. We had a team from area that went really far. And we had a team from Bathsheba, team from Bonwell, Horsell, Cat Road, that are real good. I think then they're Cornwall or something like that. And the young boys used to go to Courtyard school like on evenings and play down Lammy's past the hard court down there and play basketball. And you know everything seems to go downhill. They start then with like netball. They're doing good in netball too. And the netball going down. That's another thing we like to see come back. The sports is what really had the players alive. Football. Every weekend they had football at Courtyard school. On a Sunday, we would like to see how they come back too. So, sports, work on sports. Try to get back sports. The community center is just out there shut up, honestly. They had dressmaking classes. Then you had the cooking and baking classes. That are going good. That they're gone down too. And the facilities there just shut up. I think stove and oven and everything out there. So you just need to like open back up and get it going again. So there's a lot of different things that could be done in St. Joseph. People just gonna come out and start back getting things together and get back friendly neighborhood going again. I'm more into my trees. I'm a budding and grafter. I'm more into doing trees and thing plants and mango trees and pear trees and what's not. That's my end. So even like if a course of that like had to come out and my like getting involved and teach the younger people. Cause I was saying that people need trees. And mostly grafted trees that they want, cause you know them got the last space, so they want more smaller trees to plant around the house and so forth. So basically that's what it is. Friendly neighborhood, get back to everything will run smooth.
Right there, so you're going there, but you think there so too. You see youngsters out there scrimmaging, women doing the glee, but hard court on there. You got games going on there, people can't build a pavilion for them people, and everybody good here for the evening and socialize and play basketball, who's play cricket, football, whatever. And that was St. Joseph want right now. We got a pavilion out there that is just door side, nothing rotten down. We want repairs. We got youngsters that are willing to play the sport, but they ain't got nowhere to play. But I said the idea that we got is to open back at the pavilion, set back at the basketball court. There's a good few years now the basketball court, they're just doomed. You can't play on it. The rings want fixing, you want lights. We got other communities that got lights and got everything, but we ain't got nothing else out here. And that's what we want. We want help in that way so that we could build back the community, build back St. Joseph, bring it back what it was years ago. Everybody will come in and participate, whether it come to sell, whether it come to cheer on the men that playing, especially when Thunderbird's playing. You got other teams coming from outside and trying to dominate, but they can't get we dominate because we the poorest and we still on top. And we do that for 4 years straight, St. Joseph. But as I said, the idea that we got is to assisting the youngsters, seeing that the pavilion, the cricket field out there, so get lawn down, redo, because it want digging up and doing about much better because they can't play the cricket. You may like to play football, but you gotta get somewhere to play football. There's got up by the gymnasium, it's got all over Barbados, it's got by lumber company. Got youngsters that can play football, may not come from nothing to something that live in St. Joseph, but you just need the help. The format that I had years ago, as I said, I had elders that used to come that love the sport and make sure that the things happen. They will go to the ONCA, get the official documents and whatever that they got to deal with. Then they will come together, from district to district, from Lamens, Parks Road, Branchbury, Bathsheba, name it, what part you know that got basketballers, and just bring everybody together. And they will got, on a Sunday, they will got 5 and 6 games going on one time. Then as soon as one game done, one finish, another one start. That was to build the community, but you ain't got nothing so no. Just the facility that you want. Having the facilities in the community will bring back everybody together in St. Joseph, St. Michael, all over, because it's a community thing. Because we gathering, but then we make people gather back again. If you got the facilities for the people to play the basketball, play the sports, play football, play cricket, play tennis. We had some top tennis men here too. I think out here was the sporting ground. St. George was the sporting ground. You could come on a Sunday and like I said that you could got all kind of games going on. Even though the cricket, pitching. You see even pitch marbles, that was to bring that a spirit thing too, bring spirits back together. Because the man want to win you marbles. You know what I'm saying? But we need help. The idea is there, but it's just the help now to get everything off the ground running. Right, there's a lot of ideas. You got land that you could work up and plant food. You got men in the community that are willing to do this thing because that would be they love that. Farming, doing things, making their own money. They ain't got to depend on nobody. Just give you the land and help boost the economy same way too, because you ain't got to go outside and bring no food stuff and you got growing here locally. And then things that we as black people got to come away from. Going out looking for things we got right here. So right here and we own country and we got to go. We got land. If you walk from here now, you can see the land that just there. Bare bush. That you make it work up. You could put, if they want water, go into water authority and get some water the same way too and work the land. Get the food growing. Make things happen. Chicken pens, whatever they want to do. Because they got the land, they got the space, they got the room. But it's just that they need the help. And that's my idea. That will bring back community spirit too. Because years ago, the old people used to work together and build a stronger nation, that will tell you. But if you got the people divided, it ain't gonna happen. But to make it happen for St. Joseph, give us some land, give us a facility to bring the youngsters back together, and St. Joseph be back where it was back in the days. That's it.
Got too much people in the community right now for the community to be said they don't want netball, cricket, basketball, football. And right now we like some help boosting it too. For other people. All help in different ways, with coaching, practical. We'll help buy some balls and different things, help boost back the community. Community want a lifting, man. I got too much youngsters about here. Pavilion want fixing. Football want bring back. Cricket, netball. Spirit in community day. They can't activity at all. Can't get no sports. Nah, so it shouldn't be so. Too much young people live about here.
Years ago, you had a man like Reverend Clark at St. Anne's Church. He was the Reverend. He used to have some of the best fairs at St. Anne's Church. People from all St. Michael, St. George, all over come to St. Anne's Fair. And we used to have a robust time down there. no problems, nothing. So we had St. Anne's Church had one of the best fairs in the parish of St. Joseph over the years. I would like to see something like that come back again. Yeah, and some street fairs. Young people like some street fairs, for sure. I would like to see more player parks throughout the community. And like more gardening with real flowers.
Yeah, that's my idea for this community. Sports is business in any community, though. Sport is bringing business, make things happen, bringing people from one neighborhood, from other areas, and businesses happen, drinks to sell, all kinds of things to sell, everybody eat, though. Sport is business. There is sporting community of St. Joseph, and it's no sports no playing there no more. No sports, none. No tennis, football, no cricket, cause the Man City cricket pitch dead, cricket dead. Basketball, all the professionals out there, and nothing on using them. Professionals out there, running down now. Running down. The first feeling about it was light split was out here in a private map on them. We have competitions, enough people, you know what I mean, man got enough bulls in the pen, you get a little fight, a little scratch here. But that's natural though. Sports has been here, big man. Sports business. We want the Thunderbirds with a big top team, went all over the island and do what I had to do. Thunderbirds put St. George on the map. In basketball, me. Yeah, bring together the who of St. George.
Hello everyone, my name is Nikita Holder and I'm a proud Josephine. In 2018, it would have been the parish ambassador for St. Joseph, and through that program, not only did I gain more experience and more exposure, but we got to see different sides of St. Joseph and honestly walk through the parish and see what we needed to do in order to improve the area and also to make St. Joseph more vibrant and more alive. And I think one of the ways, so there are many ways that we could look at, many different things that we could do. One of the ways is definitely community engagement and getting our young people into programs that they could benefit and that programs that they could be able to develop. I think, you know, it's okay to ask persons, whether you're involved in sports or the arts, to come out, to join clubs, to come out and do things in our community, but we have to have some kind of incentives. May not be every single time, but sometimes something that is makes it attractive for persons to want to be involved. And we see all the violence that is happening, all the things that are happening with our young people, and I'm saying that if we could just get more involved, encourage our young people or our residents to be more involved, we could help them in some way, in a more effective way, in a more creative way. I am an artist. I study theatre and film. I just actually completed a show in February at Daphne Joseph Hackett Theatre, and I love to teach, teaching drama, teaching young people. I think the unfortunate thing right now is that I don't have a space, and finding the space is quite difficult. And seeing that St. Joseph, we don't really have as much opportunities to grow because we don't have the funding, you know, and funding is hard, but if we could just have these spaces, me in particular, I could get out there and I could teach the young people and we could just give them an avenue to express themselves. Theatre is a way in which we can engage and be, you know, creative, and it could open avenues, you know, not only in the arts, but in the sports as well, but we just need the opportunity, and it starts with getting spaces, it starts with getting funding, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Thank you. So we have a slice of St. Joseph, some of the challenges the parish faces, and some of the opportunities as well. So before we turn over to Alex and look at, before we start listening to your ideas, I want to share something with you. We were going to do it a little later, but in as much as the video focused on it. Selwyn, can you pull up? Move up one screen. Again. All right. Now, that is the original design for the pavilion here at Lamins. Designed for the topography with facilities for the community, but with bleachers looking toward the hard courts as well as toward the playing field. Now, go to the other photograph for me, please. Move up. Again. Right, pause. And this is the St. Matthias design. And we are at the stage of making a determination of whether we go with the original or if we go with this kind of design. And it's more likely that this is the kind of design that will end up being used, since it is easier to replicate across the country, across communities. And again, it is modular. It allows for a very quick turnaround in construction. So this is just my way of making sure that you understand that, well, yes, there are challenges related to the existing facilities. There are also plans well in place to begin to provide the kind of facility that will allow for the rebuilding of some of the sports that, according to the residents who spoke in the video, you want to see more of. So at this stage, I'll now let the moderators take control, and we'll go from here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Roy. And good night to everyone. I want to say a special good night to the residents of St. Joseph. Good night to the MP for the area, the Attorney General, the Honorable Dale Marshall, members of Cabinet. I'd like to welcome you all to the St. Joseph editions of the Ideas Forum. So, not going to spend too long. My name is Alex Donks. I'm the Prime Minister's Press Secretary to my right. I'll let him introduce himself, even though I know you may be familiar.
You may be familiar with the voice, but not the face. You know what Marvin say? What's the song?
Remember the name.
But not the face. Yeah, good night, everyone. A pleasure to be in St. Joseph. Looking forward to hear the many ideas that you will have. And as we often suggest, let us think them through and see how they can bring the most results for the people that you are putting forward the idea for and the solution for, and also how you can best fit it in to the community in St. Joseph and to the wider Barbados. So a pleasure to be here. We want to hear from you. So we look forward to hearing the many ideas coming from St. Joseph.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tahir. So at this point, I will welcome the first speaker. I have a Kevin Codrington. So Kevin, I'll ask you just to join us at the front. There's a microphone here for the speakers, so just come to share your ideas. Okay, no problem. I'm getting a sign from the back. So again, if you have any ideas you'd like to share, there's the desk at the back. You can join the PMO team and you share your ideas, and then they'll indicate to you which number you are, and then you'll come and you can make your presentation. So I'll go on to a Kenny Hewitt. And also, feel free, those at the gate. There are plenty of seats up front. So just feel free to come in and join us. Maybe you'll hear something. Maybe you'll feel free to share an idea. You never know. So, as opposed to being at the back and know that it's a little comfortable back there, we have plenty of space up front. So please.
All right, we live.
Good night.
As point of introduction, my name is Kenny Hewitt. I live in Cleavers Hill, Bathsheba. I have been resident there for about 27, 28 years, but my family has been resident on Cleavers Hill since before slavery. I am a St. Joseph person as far as I'm concerned, and I am vested, heart, and soul. They told me 5 minutes, so I have 2 points that I just really want to get out, so I'll try and make it as brief as possible. Number one is about environment. I live in Bathsheba area. Was an avid surfer, a man of the sea. I have seen in the last 2 to 3 years the most erosion I have seen since I've lived there. If you're driving along the East Coast, there are actually points where at the fuller tides in the year, you're about 20 feet away. The sea is now about 20 feet away from the sea. If you go down into the Bathsheba area, down by the park area, down by where Dinah would be, you will notice that before there used to be 2 rows of coconut trees planted. The last row is now toppling, okay? Now, I don't know how the ocean works. The coconut trees slow down things, okay? But once that is gone, the sea just needs access in, and it can undermine 10, 15 feet in one good night. Simple as that. So my first recommendation is to look at the ability between NCC, Coastal, and us in the community. How can we plant 2 more rows of coconut trees immediately? You want the trees to get to a certain size so the roots are complex enough. It ain't gonna stop it, but to slow things down. Because when they're there, what would take them years to erode, if they're not there, can erode in a night. It's a simple fact to that, okay? Sticking on environment, I got serious problems with litter and the way Bajans deal with litter. We are, me included, everybody, I use the word Bajans, we pretty nasty. We put garbage anywhere as long as it's not around our house and things like that. A few years ago, we were doing a beach cleanup. Hard work, community effort, well done. I come down the beach the next week and I see Pampers sticking to the rocks and all sort of things. Why are you done with that, all right? I want to see signage about littering. I want to see proper garbage cans and whatnot there. I want a regular collection. I mean, we all want this for all of us, but I'm speaking specifically in the Bathsheba area, which is a showcase of Barbados, okay? Those are things I would like to see action on immediately, okay? And then in general, public education all over from primary school right up to us and our environment, because that's all we have. The tourists could come or go, we live here, and that's our environment. All right, I'm moving quick. All right, well, they told me 5 minutes, I had 2 points. The other point for me is, Bathsheba is currently a place where people pass through, okay? I feel 90% of people that go on an island tour or tour around Barbados pass through Bathsheba. My real vision is to try to make Bathsheba, where I live and where I come from, a destination, okay? Oysters right now in Barbados is a destination. When they get on the plane in England or get on the plane in Canada, Oysters is penciled in for Friday night to go and get some Bajan culture and whatnot. Now, I'm not looking to replicate Oysters in no way, means, or form. Oysters is Oysters. But I would like Bathsheba to become a destination. How do we make a place a destination? In all my travels, I would give an interesting one. There's a place in Martinique called Diamant. Diamant is in the middle of nowhere and it's just a field by the ocean. Diamant has cars pulling up, people getting out, walking around. Why? They have a story and they have signage about the story. Okay? A very big activity happened in Diamant with slaves, with a slave boat coming to shore. At the time, Martinique did not have slavery. They did not know what to do with the slaves. There's a mound going along with the whole story. It's like 6 heads because the male slaves were tied in 6s. Anyway, enough of that. Bathsheba got enough story. We got Amerindians. We got railway. We got surfing. We got fishing. My vision is seeing something similar like Diamant up by Hillcrest, explaining the Amerindian heritage. Down by Tent Bay, explaining fishing. Over by Dinah's, explaining the railroad. Well, I already got a mock thing out there for the surfing, but I would like something real for Bathsheba surfing down where Bathsheba surfing happens, all right? Now, my reason for this is you want people to stop. You want them to get out. So this is only the beginning of making a destination, but we have to tell our stories, and our stories are important worldwide, all right? After we get the story, I'll tell you, my real dream is to make Barbados the center of all art and craft in Bathsheba, which would be a bit of a change. You have the structure of restaurants there already, but you almost need now something else for people to come out. Also in what I'm looking at, to take things to the commercial end, if we can ever really get where we're going, I need BIDC to start to give a little more help to the vendors that are there. Now, vendors are strange people. Vendors work when they want to. They have their whole concept of why, when, and where. So I'm not telling you to go to someone and hardcore them this way. I'm talking about BIDC working closely with the people, okay? And find out what the issues are. Do you need a little help in some accounting, a little bookkeeping, make sure you're all right? You might not really want to be in something, but can I help you in bettering your display? Maybe we find somewhere to put lockers that people can keep their stuff safely, all right? But ultimately, another thing I would really like BIDC to do is to be able to do a study, Caribbean-wide. What sells? Is it jewelry? Is it photography? Is it whatever? What's the price point? Get right down into it. I want to see some science put in to assist the vendors, okay? And I feel that is me rushing. And the only other thing I wanted to say with the signage and thing I would like to think for making Bashba a destination, it doesn't necessarily have to be cheap. Cheap is not always cheap. It needs to be permanent, thought of. BIDC needs to work in conjunction with the BTMI, with the museum, make sure the story is right, make sure the materials are right. You want to build it once, and like Nelson, 100 years, 200 years later, somebody's still reading it. If you understand what I'm saying. At that point, it's no cheap, not expensive. And that is it, folks. I kind of rushed it, but I hope I made some sense.
Kenny, I'd like to thank you for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, sit up front. You opened the batting strong, so that's good. So I know that we all heard the suggestions he made, specifically as it relates to Bathsheba. I think that's the one that stuck with me. I'm not a resident of St. Joseph, but like he said, people come from around the world, and they come to Oysters on a Friday afternoon or Friday night. Bathsheba has, to me, probably the best views on island. And so I'm sure that, like you, there are many people who feel strongly about. Apologies, not probably. I've been corrected. So Tahir, I don't know if you have any ideas coming off of what Kenny would have shared with us.
No, I certainly liked how Kenny framed it. And I must commend you for coming up and speaking to those things, especially around the history. And we need to tell the history of each of our parishes. And as what's going on, and we're gathering now as well, these standpipe stories and stuff like that. But for garbage, and this is a national issue that we are facing, because in St. Thomas, they said the exact same thing. In St. Peter's, they said the same thing. And I want y'all to think, as y'all come up here, what are some of these solutions beyond public education, beyond teaching children about not littering, beyond the signage? Do you think stricter penalties should be enforced? And we saw last week in part of the bill for more fines, more hefty fines. So as you come up, perhaps that's something you can share, and that's an idea you can share on as well, on what you think can be done, because I think a lot is done already, but how can we enforce it a little better?
For me, fines come with enforcement and a whole set of structure, and that's fine. But invariably, you need to make people understand garbage and environment. Let's take mosquitoes, and you need to relate it to them. My man, you drop that snow cone cup there, that is the mosquito that bite my grandmother, that got me down by. You get what I'm saying? People are vested in a selfish way. That's how we are. But all the fines and all that are not going to do it. We need, one, it needs to be pounded into the children. No, you need to come through primary school and know that literally. Granny, what you doing? Well, uncle, you ready through that there? You need that direct pressure, but that must be ingrained. That's called education. It ain't just all about reading and writing. And those are the sort of things we as a people need to understand, that the environment is us. That garbage I dump in the gully, when the rainfall cause granny house to flood. Oh Lord, the government need to do something. What do you mean the government need to do? You do it. You need to solve it. That's all of us, as far as I am concerned. This garbage thing, this ain't easy. Bam, straight in the primary schools. I tell you, a proper program, 5 years, and the whole place is different. This is what I go to country. You can't find garbage in Japan. You cannot even find a garbage can. Them gone so ignorant. People do not litter. If somebody has something, it goes in a bag and they go home with that. You cannot even find a garbage can and not a. But if you litter, I don't even know if you get arrested. People look at you so bad, you won't pick it up.
And before you go, Kenny, I'm glad you spoke on mindset and the culture. In terms of your community development aspect, what are some of the actionable items or suggestions you may have for that community development?
I mean, when you say community development, I'm not 100%. Or if it's on the points that I made, I think the
On
community.
Bathsheba, on the point
All
on
right,
Bathsheba.
let's take Bathsheba. I have been now involved in, let's say, 3 beach cleanups. The first one was the first one we went all in, and I was done with that. I do have a business in Bathsheba, and yearly now, well, last year was the first year, this year we're doing it again. We're having another beach cleanup and an environmental day, whatever. We've put in all the stuff for the bags, the gloves, the this and that. If you come sign up, you get a t-shirt, blah, 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 and you get something to eat at the end of the day as a community thing. Other than that, I've tried to, in our employing in the area, to be youthful, but locals. You saw Sky Greenwich earlier. He's one of our staff. And things like that, I don't mind. I just helped with some of the football in the regathering. I am into football, so I told the guys if they can come with something properly structured, it may not be funding necessary from me, but I sure I could find 5 other men to ask a question to get a little something going. But the community has to structure themselves to accept these sort of things and to work with it. I went to the regathering thing there in St. Elizabeth, and it took me maybe about 20 minutes to start to figure out the youth. That was my fault mainly, because they're different to me. But I got them. I figured it out, and at the end of the day, they were youth, and I could get behind it. But it needed a little more structure and discipline for me to look at a man and holler, look, put a little change in here behind this, and go from there. That is my thinking.
Thanks again, Kenny, and I really want to commend you for opening strong, because you come with not just ideas, you have solutions, and I can tell you're passionate about the parish and your community as well. So, home for you. So it's home for all of us, really true at the end of the day. Yeah. So thanks again, Kenny. I want to welcome the next speaker. I have Andrew Dixon. So Andrew, the floor is yours.
Good night, everybody. If you look and see what I have written, Kenny said almost everything. Say it better? I also want to endorse Kenny and strengthen his point, because from what I have, I remember every Saturday after church, I spent at least 3 hours in Bathsheba Park sitting. And it is so nasty sometimes to see the amount of garbage that people just go and throw all over the park. And I took a couple pictures and I forwarded them to the AG, and and he actually called NCC about it, because I believe the park also need more garbage cans. Because when I look in Bathsheba Park, there's only 2 garbage cans in Bathsheba Park. But one of the things I want to also look at, if you look at the water coming from Bathsheba coming over to the road into the sea, there's no guidance for the water to go into the tunnels. The water just come off the hill and run into the sea. And by doing that, all of the right side of the road is breaking off. So what you're actually having is a lot of corrosion on the right side due to the water. So my suggestion is that we look to see how we can build, not a sidewalk, because I don't think a sidewalk will be adequate for that side, but it's something, not even a gutter, what you call the slip and curb thing, where you just put that little slip and curb, so you will divert the water from going over to the pasture, and it will just go into the gutter then, and stop the right side of the road from falling over. So that was one of my points. During the, the next point is actually some of the vendors spoke to me, and they were saying that they only allow 2 vendors on the Bathsheba part. And I understand where they were coming from, because when the tourists get off the bus, the tourists go to the bathroom, they go to the pasture, they go to look at the rock. So that's an area that actually captured a lot of the tourists. So I think what we have to do is to provide more stalls, or provide stalls somewhere along the coastline, along the sea, so that the vendors, and we can increase the vendors, because some of the craft the young people showing me They look really nice. And the people that are actually selling, the young persons that are not selling as yet, the craft that they have in their possessions, out of this world. Beautiful. And I think we have to give the youngsters the opportunity to actually showcase their talent and allow them to also make some money. And that was one. The next one is I took a look at the gathering, the sporting activities, and I realized that we had a very powerful sporting endeavor. And I want to suggest that we continue yearly or next year with the same vein where we bring out all of the youngsters. I saw some 8, 9, and 10-year-old boys playing against 16, 17 big men. I mean, I seriously, young fellas, and if I had a thought that the youngsters, I was writing them off, I had to take that back. Because the youngsters were actually anxious about doing something positive. And I like that to see the youngsters actually came out, and the football went all the way till 12 o'clock. And not one youngster left from the football field. So I want to suggest that we continue. I don't know if the government will be willing to sponsor the same or a portion of the funding to continue some of the activities that we held through the regathering to actually continue in April. Some people will speak about other events, but one of the events I want to speak about is the sporting activities. If we can continue, because I realized that the guy that was actually on the clip was actually speaking about sporting activities. Sports can actually bring positivity back to the community. The only thing I think we didn't had in our regathering is netball. And I had actually 2 netball teams in Bathsheba. And if you see the people come out to Grantley Adams and Bathsheba to just watch sporting activities, and I don't think we record one incident that will cause people to be fearful or not come out. So I felt good to see the older people coming out with the benches, again, coming out of COVID, and watching these sporting activities. So I want that we, Mr. AG, that we will continue to have some sponsorship. And I prefer if the government can start it off, and then we can seek private sponsorship. But if the government can, through the Sports Council, can actually sponsor the football, the basketball, and we must include the netball, because there are a lot of women and young girls in St. Joseph who can play netball, and I think from my experience, I know a lot of men like to watch the girls playing netball. So I mean, the guys come out and they feel relaxed watching the girls play netball, and the girls know that the guys playing netballs, watching the netball, so they can play a better netball. So I want to actually see the sporting activity. Last year, I asked the Prime Minister for Grantley Adams so that we can play basketball. At 50, I still play with the 20s and the 30-year-olds and still keeping up. And we were honored with that. And every night we play at Grantley Adams with free lights. I asked for that, and we got that. And we play every night at Grantley Adams. So I want to see sporting activity in St. Joseph continuing, and bringing out the older folk to actually support the younger people.
Thanks a lot, Kenny. Don't go nowhere. I just have a question for you. Sorry, apologies, Andrew. I have a question for you.
Because Kenny bring the same
ideas, but you can get the questions. So
right, go ahead.
But it's just a question for you, because you spoke a lot about, like Kenny, a lot about the things that are being done by the youth in the community. So whether it be jewelry or crafts and so on, and the high quality that they're producing these things at. While we were in St. Thomas for the Ideas Forum, we had a gentleman made a suggestion about agriculture, but I would like to see what you think about extending it to St. Joseph in the areas that you're referring to. So his idea was to have a community market, specific day where you invite people from across St. Joseph or across the communities. Bring your crafts, bring your items that you have on sale, and let's display it for everybody to see. So
I think that's a good idea, but I was speaking to Matthew, and I think Matthew want to bring that idea because I think he have a broader perspective on that issue. So I think that since you asked that question, and Matthew didn't put his name yet, I don't know if the guys at the back will allow him to come.
We have a Matthew in the
speak
audience.
to that.
Matthew, are you willing to share the idea that you have, or? Come, Matthew. Well done, Matthew. Come.
All right, way to put me on the spot, Mr. Dixon. Good night, all. My name is Matthew Hinkson, and I am the chairperson for Regathering for St. Joseph. I would say that first off, thank you to the governor of Barbados for allowing us to put on such an event. I think it was tremendously executed by the team. We did 21 events in the parish, all without incident, all beautifully executed, and the community loved it, right? Mr. Dixon spoke about the football. We haven't had football to that extent in St. Joseph in over 10 years. So the same little boys, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, growing up, playing little scrimmage on the beach or what's not, but not having the opportunity to showcase their highlight to that extent. It was really beautiful to watch. As it pertains to what was just mentioned in terms of the marketplace, we were actually discussing it earlier today, where when we had one of our annual events, which is the kite flying in Paris Hill, we had probably over 600 or 700 people there, right? One of the biggest crowds that we've had in a while, probably due to regathering. But in looking over to the left side, and you see the sugar factory, Andrew's Sugar Factory. It has been basically desolate in I don't know how much years now, right? And we believe that that space can be repurposed to be somewhat of a marketplace for the parish of St. Joseph. Similar to how you have Hayman's down the road, you have something similarly in Brighton, right? Something could be done in that same spot. All it needs to be is cleared away. We have enough vendors within the parish. We have a whole list now of 21 vendors or so that, from food to arts and craft to selling their own chicken, pig, whatever. You have a whole host of persons who are ready and able and willing to highlight and show their products. So that's one of the ideas that we would like to share. Now that I am up here, all right, so now that I am up here, when we first started the gathering, we did a motorcade throughout the district. We passed this school, we went to St. Elizabeth School, Grant Adams, St. Joseph was shut down at the time due to cow itch. And it kind of hurt my heart to see the condition of St. Elizabeth Primary School. I'm not sure when it's the last time any of you have been to St. Elizabeth Primary School. When I walked up to speak to those kids, the entire school was sitting out in front of me and I thought it was just a class, right? It was that bad. Probably between class 3 and 4 was maybe 8 students, or not even that much, maybe 6 students between class 3 and 4. I've heard of stories of children wanted to move up, but because there's only one child, they got reverted back to the class that they were previously in, right? And that's not right, in my opinion. So something needs to be done there. The school has been, I've lived in St. Joseph all my life, I'm 31 years old, and that school hasn't been repainted or nothing like that in, I can't remember when, So something needs to be done. Not sure if we may consider, I know you had a recent change of principal. Hopefully she can do some stuff there. Very nice lady, met her. But maybe looking at spreading the kids around between this school and St. Joseph's School, maybe, so as to not disadvantage persons. I mean, more logistics and more planning needs to go into it and thought processes. But the fact of the matter is the school needs help, right? External and internal. And looking at these kids, 20 kids for whole school is not, something needs to be done, right? So those are my quick, the ideas. Right, so as I said, one suggestion would be to, among those 20 children, you have 2 schools that are going pretty well. Some years ago, this school was supposed to be repurposed, right? Because it was going on a downward projection. But this has came up now. So maybe something can happen with St. Elizabeth. If not, then you spread out the children amongst this school and St. Joseph Primary School. And that's the suggestion. Of course, you wouldn't now leave that school abandoned. It could be repurposed into something community related. If we continue the sporting stuff and culture and that type of stuff, maybe it could be used for something to that effect in order to further enhance the parish.
Appreciate your thoughts, Matthew. I heard once you had mentioned these schools as well, there was a bit of chatter. So I don't know if that's positive or negative, but at the same time, I want to tell you I appreciate you sharing the idea. Because even if you may agree or not agree with it, what it's doing is promoting thoughts in your head as to how we can start to address some of the things that are brought up. So whether or not, as I said, you agree with his ideas, I commend you for coming on stage, standing at short notice, and sharing your thoughts about how we could improve with respect to the community development, and then some of the things that you've seen in your time when you've been on the We Gathering team as well. So thank you again, Matthew. I'd like to everyone to just give him a round of applause.
I want to commend Kenny, Andrew, and Matthew as well. And speaking to the Attorney General and the MP for the area, if it's one thing that we've realized with the crime situation in the country, and a lot of people speak to it and say there's not much structured sporting activities or cultural activities like before. The men can just go and kick a little football, a little scrimmage, men can just play basketball by themselves. But I throw that to Kenny, Andrew, and Matthew. How can you come together? I know they have Mr. Vaughan, they still got, you said, Joseph Cultural Cricket Team? Or just St. John Cultural? They have St. Joseph Cultural as well. So you got the cricket team that does pretty well in second division and I think intermediate. You have the Bathsheba and BCL. How can you come together, put your heads together and come up with a football team? Because as you're saying, they have lots of talented young footballers in the community. But how can we now bring back that structure, whether it's football, basketball, netball, and create that holistic plan? So don't just throw it out and say that we have competitions. Competitions are fine for a period of time, but you want a structured activity over a prolonged period so that young people are engaged in wholesome activities for a long time. For example, the work Mr. Vaughan is doing, and you see him in the crowd, big at yourself at isolation. Those boys are I can call you out. The work those boys are doing over a period of time is much more structured and wholesome than just having a competition for 1 night or 1 week or 2 weeks. So you got a prolonged, holistic program that they could be in so that they ain't resort into any criminal activities or something like that. So I throw that out. Competitions are fine. I love competitions. Competitions can bring the hype and the buzz that is needed for a shorter period, but we want more long-term, sustainable stuff. So I throw that out perhaps to y'all, and I think that's something that's needed throughout the communities in Barbados as well. So how can you frame that, Andrew? And y'all got the mindsets already. Y'all got the knowledge already. Put it together and see how you could get something structured, especially for football and perhaps the basketball and then, as you said, the netball as well. So that's just an idea that coming from what y'all are saying as well. Yeah, come to the mic.
Yeah, I just want to encourage you as well. I know that you have the structure if you're having your ideas, you're going to the table in the back. But the youngsters that just came in, right on cue, I just invite you, they're sitting at the front. So please don't feel shy to come up. We're all sharing ideas as one family, we're one community, you know. So there's a bunch of seating here to your right. You can just come forward. Thank you very much. And as I was saying, yes, we have a structure. Welcome.
You want me to go ahead?
Right on cue. So apologies for
That's all
interrupting.
right. That is quite okay. What I was commenting as I'm Carlene Hinkson.
What's your name and where you from?
Born in St. Andrew, raised in St. Joseph from the age of 6 till adult in Cleavers Hill. And one of the things I was mentioning when you spoke about the sports, I used to manage a netball team years and years ago. Melissa's here, she can tell you, year after year, you're putting in your own funding into uniforms and paying a coach and buying tokens. So it comes down to sponsorship. I know this guy here, he used to train the football team. Again, we had a football team in St. Joseph, but it came down to not having the financial resources to keep the teams going year after year. So I'm sure it is something that can be rebirthed, but these things call for financial resources, and that's just a reality. Yeah, so that's the point I was making. It's not that we've had a basketball team, we've had a football team, we've had a netball team. They just all dwindled away because people become disinterested when there's no support, and that's just a reality. Yeah. Why would you ask me to do that?
Put together a proposal. No, but the point I want to make is that
I get you.
there are enough activities, enough teams, enough different sports that if you have a coordinated approach to it, then you're likely to get a better result than a fragmented.
Yeah, we can have a discussion on it and send something through our MP.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Caroline? Caroline?
Carlene.
Sorry, Lean.
Yes.
And
You remember me?
that issue is not unique to just you. Coming out of COVID, my sport is cricket, and to a lesser extent football. So all the clubs in Barbados face that challenge of sponsorship. But the clubs that have done well in securing sponsorship is the club that has the best structure and the best system in terms of, okay, what are we carrying forward? Who are the players? What are we looking to achieve? You know, what are you getting for your sponsorship? Because companies are not just going to give anymore for giving's sake or just to put the logo on a shirt. What are we getting back? What is the promotion you're giving? So if you could create that structure and that system, trust me, you would get the sponsorship. The clubs, the few clubs, and they could probably count them on one hand in cricket that have done that well, have gotten the sponsorship that they required. So if you could create that structure and that system, I could certainly help you with that. But Roy would then be the next person you could speak to in terms of getting the support perhaps a little higher up the chain.
Yeah, and just to add now I am here, what you saw in the month of April surfing, I remember as a teenager in my early 20s, November was the month to look forward to the big surfing competition. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, stalls, music, models, everything going on. And Bathsheba by night was a thing to look forward to, Independence Time as well. So these things are not new. They just need to be reinitiated and reactivated on a yearly basis. Yeah.
Well, Caroline, thank you so much for sharing. What I will say, you're throwing out a challenge. Roy's thrown one to you, and I think you've thrown one to the rest of us, in that there's so many things, institutional knowledge that you, the residents of St. Joseph, had, how things were, how things should be. So I really want to encourage you to continue thinking, not just now, but after the Ideas Forum as well. How you could start to do some of the things like Tahir suggested, putting a proposal together. For you, it may be football. For someone else, you may have an idea. You know, how can we start to structure these things so that by the time we come around next year, we're no longer talking about what we hope can happen, we're talking about what has happened already. So again, kudos to you for coming up.
Right.
I really appreciate it.
It is okay to write proposals, but I have been a civil servant. I don't want us to sit down and write proposals, put forward ideas, and then we don't get execution in terms of the support that we need. Good. So don't make me sit down and put my head together with my team, and then next year, the same time, we still begging for help.
Send your proposal.
All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Are we?
Send it to Roy.
And we talking about sports. Barbados Pelicans are 53 for 3 after 8 overs for the persons that like cricket playing in the breakout T20 league. So the next person is, just a reminder for the persons who have now come in, If you want to make a contribution, just register at the back with Darian and your colleague. I'm not sure your name. Just raise the hand at the back. Yes. Shakira. You can register your contribution there, and then we'll call you to the mic. So next up, we have, I'm getting some feedback as well. I don't know if it's from the mic or if it's just the speakers or what. Mr. Dexter Marshall. Just say where you're from, Dexter. I think everybody knows where you're from, but.
My name is Dexter Marshall. I'm from the other end of St. Joseph, which is Cambridge. I'm here to represent my sports, football. And it really got me out when this regarding St. Joseph came and they said we had football. And I was working with Lamis football players. Started 4 years ago, and we used to come here every night, Tuesday, Thursdays, train. They don't want to know about competitions. So when they heard about these competitions, I said to those guys, look, we're going to win this competition. And I was very impressed that actually the Gary had a football competition. And the first night we were in St. Joseph, Bathsheba, I saw some talent that I was amazed that St. Joseph got some talented football players at both levels and everything. And I want to make a solution how we could make this better, how we could make St. Joseph the best football place in this island. Who don't know me, I am the most qualified Brazilian coach in Barbados. I have a big contract in Brazil with a Brazilian company who's looking for Barbadians talented players. And my solution for St. Joseph is that I would love to see an inter-parish competition where as a professional scout and an agent, I could go around St. Joseph and look at the best players, put them in a better program where that I could call on my scouts from Brazil to look at our talent in St. Joseph. As I speak, St. Joseph have the best footballer in the island. He's right here in this film.
Just like to welcome the Prime Minister, the Honorable Miramar Motley, joining us. 11 p.m.
His name is Dickery Marshall. He's of Commameran. He's 14 years old. 15. I can give you the history of what he wanted to do in St. Joseph. He was spotted in 2019 when he was 9 years old by the partner I have in Brazil. And we had over 60 kids at Harrison College. And he was doing a lot of Brazilian training. And he said to me, "That's how old is that youngster there?" I said, he's only 9. He said, "No, that can't be true." I asked, "Why?" He said, "Look, every Brazilian drill I do, he's doing it better than anybody else." So I started to laugh. He asked me why I laugh. I said, "Because that's my son." And this is what he said to me, "Dexter, at that age, he's too gifted to be in Barbados. We need to get him into Brazil." COVID came 2020, shut down everything. Last year, it started. At 14, he went straight to the professional team. He didn't even go to the youth academy. He trained with the professional team all summer. He went back in December to do pre-season training. The club technical staff said, "Dexter, your son has the ability to become one of the best players in the world." You need to clap for that. He's Beijing. The report, I got back a report, and they will sign Dickery to be a professional player this year. And stand up, let us see you, man. Mr. Marshall, he's a Commameran. So we need right? He's a Commameran. He's 15. That's the studies. Anyhow, So what I want to do this for St. Joseph and for Barbados in general is that for St. Joseph, I would like to see a program where the footballers are playing football and the parish competitions. I want to use my contacts in Brazil to place Barbadians into professional football clubs. If we can get 50 professional football players in Barbados, our economy is going to grow more. Because these guys in Zimbabwe want some of their money to help feed their families. But if we could get 50 footballers off of these streets, we've done a lot. There's no way that we can stand here and let the subcultures determine where our children's future is going to be. We, as the leaders, from top to bottom, have to be very vigilant. Give our young people a chance to do what they love. And I am willing to implement this program through St. Joseph. I know it's going to need some funding. I said St. Joseph. But it has to. It can start from here, then it can spread all Barbados. But yes, ma'am. If you could remember, ma'am, a couple of years ago, that's what you said to me when you were with the only person that funded me to travel to Brazil to become the coach. Is that when I return to Barbados, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take your advice and work with primary school to secondary school. In the name of Jesus. Yes, sir.
In your vision, is it better through the schools, or are you looking for outside the school club setup?
I prefer the premise. I prefer the schools.
Okay, in my thinking, I like the schools because the schools already have a semblance of discipline. Yes. A lot of them have at least somewhere to play on and whatnot.
Yes.
I had been in contact, I can't remember who, the Rasta guy that I had sponsored some of the football for the regathering. I can't remember the name of the guy that called me. Lavi, right. But I had told him I could be interested in myself on trying to get a few more people together, but y'all have to come with a program. In other words, what we did at the St. Elizabeth School was fine. That was fun. I had a good time. That is not, that, what you talking about is serious business. That's serious business that I want to be dealing with, if you understand what I'm saying.
I understand.
But y'all have to come with a proper program so that I could look at it and say, yeah, this making sense. And I could go to another man, boss, look at that there, you could put a couple, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. All right. Whatever I do it very serious, sir.
So Caroline, you see how it connecting? All the dots connecting? Your homework done already? Good, I love to hear that. Give yourselves a big, this is the best ideas forum so far. Begin the ideas, the projects, the solutions.
Everything all in one.
All in one. This is St. Joseph community vibes. This is the era here. Big up yourselves for sure. Give yourselves a big one. No, another round of applause for sure.
So a little earlier we had a little impromptu discussion with Matthew. I'd like to do that just again. I'm sorry that I'm going to have to ask you, but I see you with the trophies in your hand, young men, so I'm just going to ask you to come up and introduce yourself. And big up yourself, because you're doing some big things. I see your coach as well. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
So say your name.
You say your name.
Which school you go to school at, and which position you play. Or if you don't go to school.
Yes.
Good night.
Good
My
night.
name is Taquan Hinkson. I am the goalkeeper for the team. And in the final game, we won, and I think that the team actually did what we were supposed to do in that tournament, and that was focus on winning. And for the rest of the players, I thank y'all for coming out, and the whole of St. Joseph for coming out tonight. For y'all, show y'all all my respect, and thank you very much. Boy, just focusing on game. For any game, we had to pray, and just went forward from there.
The coach gave you certain instructions, like
Yeah. So before the last game we played, the coach was telling me about give me a couple of tips on goalkeeping, and so it was before it was in the bar standing up, and it was not getting out attack the ball or anything. So I realized it make a change when I started to do it, and then we went it on the field. But the training was there too. The training was there too. So every evening, some evening the coach don't be out here, but 4:30, 5 o'clock, fellas here all the way when you pass up in the evening. Yeah. Sorry, so upon the evening, we will come. All right.
You're the goalkeeper.
All right, so for the training, we will come up on the evening, do a couple of laps around the field, then ball passing. Then after that, we would get some cones, maneuver in between them. Then we would play a little session between one another whenever time is available for it. So, I don't know what to say.
Mr. Goalkeeper, Mr. How?
Repetition.
Yeah. I think at least 2 days a week. Yes, please.
What happens is a lot of times people get tired of training. They had enough. I do that already. That's true. You ain't even start with best musician, best sportsman. Repetition.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night, everyone. My name is LaRon Goodrich. I am 18 years old, and I go to school at Derek Smith. The Derek Smith Center and Vocational Center. What I can say is that, as Miss Mia said, the Honorable Prime Minister said, practice is key. It doesn't mean that practice really doesn't mean perfect. It leads for improvement. It leads for improvement. So the more we practice, the more we improve. And on the day, yes, the coach taught us, tell us what to do, what we had to do on the field. He taught us and tell us what we had to do off the field to prepare to go on the field to do what we had to do, the work we had to put in. And we prayed. We thanked the Lord that we got where we was at the day. You know, a big pastor. Had a prayer for the team. Had a prayer for the team. But you know, it's good that I'm seeing a lot of improvement and a lot of things being done. I don't know if I can say it, but it's sad to say that we had to win this tournament to see that things had to be happening and stuff like that. Honestly, that's just my point of view. It's sad to say that things had to happen. We had to win this tournament for things to start to happen. Things should have been happening every second. This tournament shouldn't be pushing nobody because we won this tournament. This thing should be doing. Things should be happening. We should see everything improving. The pavilion, it shouldn't be where it is right now. That should have been dealt with every since. Every since. We shouldn't be winning. We shouldn't go win a tournament for. We shouldn't go win a tournament for a pavilion to get fixed, for people to come out, for people to start supporting us. Come on, we shouldn't be doing all that. We should have been with this. People should have been come and support, and we shouldn't go win a tournament. This should have been done every since. Everything should have been dealt with earlier. Earlier would have been a lot better. Not know that we win the tournament. I still want it, yes. Of course. Now that we are getting support, I would like to see this team go far. I would like to see everybody playing the world. Because I would like to do stuff. I would like to get away. I would like to go away. I would like to do all this stuff that the coach is telling us about. Honestly, Barbados is a great place. But to have more opportunities out there, you can't stand in one place.
All right.
And as saying that, I thank you everybody for listening. My name is Laurent Goodridge again, and good night.
Thank you so much, Ramel. All right. You have anyone else? All right.
Hey, I want you come. Hey, go on, Mike. Get the mic. No.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
State your name.
Yeah. Most of the people here know me. Yeah, my name is Joshua Blackman. I'm 19 years old. I go to the Barbados Community College. Realistically, initially I wasn't planning to play in the football tournament. Well, no, not set out there. No, I wasn't planning to play. I didn't know about the tournament to play in the tournament. So after the first session down St. Elizabeth, the fellas reached out to me and was telling me, well, to play 2 games down St. Elizabeth, and I want everybody come out to play the couple knockout games we got at Granley Adams to lead me to winning the competition. So first off, I would like to say a big shout out to Hillary Austin, because he's who started. I got also give a big shout out to Coach Dexter, because he used to come out here after every day working. I know I used to see him down all spring working every day in the sun, you know, to help me to push the football further. I would like to first, yeah. So thank you to both of them for supporting the guys. Playing the same uniform right going on my back right now, playing. But I just want to say again too, the same competition the night, I remember the fellas went out there, and I remember beforehand I was telling to Kerry, realistically we could win this competition, you know. Like, I watching these fellas play football, and they can't play the football that we play. We play, like, as I didn't say we come out here, they say 2 days a week, but from where I can remember we must play every day. Every day we playing football. Every day we playing football, and it's like them is teams that only come together for the competition, but all we grow up with each other. Are we playing football for years together? So I tell the fellas that we got it in we to win the competition from the start, and that's what we went trying to do. That's why I listened to what the coach was saying, because he and Hillary, they so believe in us, and I want big up all the supporters that I ended up seeing that night as well too, that come on and support us, because we were playing. You start the Thursday and finish the Friday. I remember Friday morning, 1 o'clock, outside cold, they tired, eyes droopy, and they playing football. Would have never imagined it. So I just want to say thank you to all the Josephines. As a Josephine myself, who grew up in Thor's Corner. Yeah. Just want to say thank you for all the support, and hopefully, you know, on to greater things. Just want to thank God for small mercies. We was able to win the competition. Yeah, thank you.
No. There you go, water.
Do some jumping jacks or something.
Yeah, Pops give you some pressure.
Good night. My name is Digitization Marshall. I am 15 years old. I attend the commerce school. I don't know. Yes.
Say that you are going on a professional look. What is the difference in the training? What is the difference in the discipline? What is it that's different from you playing in the back of the guys? And what is necessary to go to the next step?
First, in Brazil, they play with more intensity. 5 days a week. Both. Monday, Wednesday, Friday would be field. Tuesday and Thursday would be gym. Yeah, there's a program. They come and set it out. You have to go through, and you repeat that every day. Yes. Weekly. Yeah.
Is there a cutoff? If you don't make the standard, do you go? I'm just trying to get
Yeah, I know. I met his standards, so I wouldn't know. Uh-huh. Oh.
So that the guys who are trying to become professional can see what it is that is required. Because it's not just simply talent. You got a dedication. There's a workout. There's a discipline, actually. You understand? So I'm just trying to squeeze that out of you for my own knowledge and for all the rest of the people as well. That's really it.
Yeah, so like, as you were saying, it is, you need a certain level for they to not cut you off, because they're looking to make you the best. So if at that point you're not good enough, they're gonna cut you. Any more questions?
How did you feel? How did you feel when you won that night? How did you feel? What was the emotions like?
Honestly, I felt great. I actually come out with the team. The team actually pushed me to do better, and like we actually executed a plan.
What position you was playing?
Left wing.
Left wing. So you quick.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, give him a round of applause. So, I see everybody speak except the man with the cup, and he looking at me and saying, "Nah, we want to see the cup. Show, just raise the cup. Everybody come to the front and take a little picture with the cup, man."
And the Prime Minister's pointed out 2 more that want to speak as well. So, come on, give everyone a round of applause, man. So now we have, come around, don't worry. I can give anyone here, anyone, especially those who have not spoken yet, the opportunity just to share one thing, if you could, with the audience here. You're speaking to the residents of St. Joseph, you're speaking to the country, and we're all proud of the achievements that you've been able to accomplish here. So just one thought that you want to leave with us. I want to hear from somebody I ain't talking yet. Yeah, don't be shy, come on. No, I will give you a microphone so you don't have to come to the one. Just come so everybody can see you.
Who's the captain? The captain?
Captain. Amen. A word.
You want me to interview you? You want Alex to interview you then? Like on Premier League? How did you feel? How do you feel winning?
I know I talked before already, right? But I come back on again. So we felt great after winning that tournament. And they didn't want to do it, but the goalkeeper can't forget about me. Right. Really and truly, I feel that St. Joseph, like sometimes the residents, the people that live in the community, like we would like to see y'all out more often to like more events that the youngsters holding. Like that would give us like the encouragement that we need to keep going forward. So I think that the football and cricket and stuff, like sports, should really come back to St. Joseph to keep some of we, like the kids, occupied and off of the road.
Pressure, boy.
Yes, please. Yes, please. In the finals, when it was like last minute, somebody hand the ball in the box and they had a penalty, and he stopped it. Then the first game that we played down Bashiba, it went into penalties too, and the last shot, they saved that too.
All right. He's the penalty boss.
In closing, come back here, Dickery. This one is for the Honorable Prime Minister Mayor Motley. It's because of you that I'm standing here with the knowledge that I have. And I want to thank you from the depth of my heart that I didn't become a professional player, but you helped me to gain the knowledge that I could train youngsters, especially my son. I know that he is going to make Barbados proud, very proud. And I'm going to tell you he's one of the most skillful players because the Brazilian said to me, he can become the best. And I am going to go all out to make sure that he make this country proud. And I will hope that, it's a very costly venture. And the only way that we're going to stop is when he become a professional player. But I want you to know that, come this September, he will be signing a contract for the Youth Academy. Come January, this is his last year in Barbados. I have to go and live with him because FIFA says that no minor cannot leave a country and go to a professional club unless there is a guardian. And I ain't letting nobody be my guardian, my son guardian in Brazil, but myself. So I will be away for 2 years, and then from there, their hope is to sell him to Europe. So Mr. Prime Minister, we need to help. Thank you.
Well, no problem. Well, I really want to give a hand to y'all young men. You're doing some positive things. You're bold, you're brave, you're well drilled, as I can see by your coach. So kudos to you, and I'm sure that you'll be an inspiration for many young men and young people across the country who love sports and everything else. You've done well. So thank you for coming up at short notice. Well done. I think you're named the Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds, that's correct. Somebody tell me that's the name of the team. Well, good. Yeah. Ballers. All right. I love it, man.
So you got the name of the club already.
Name of the club.
And as you were speaking there, one idea came to mind. You know the Prime Minister's Cup is this year and is mostly for clubs. Perhaps a team from St. Joseph can participate in the Prime Minister's Cup where you could get, because there's other footballers that wasn't in the Prime Minister's Cup that they made the cut for a lot of the clubs. So perhaps they can come, more senior footballers could come and play alongside, and they could be a part of the Prime Minister's Cup as well. So that's just an idea throwing out to the organizers of the Prime Minister's Cup, and I look forward to AG, you supporting that and ensuring that we can have a team from St. Joseph's, and that's including the community into the Prime Minister's Cup to close the loop of what we're trying to do in terms of developing the semi-professional leagues through all the sports in Barbados. So I look forward that perhaps could be something that could be taken forward, because as you see, you got the talent here.
It's a great idea, Tahir, and I want to thank everyone. Give me a round of hand. Give me a round of applause. I want to thank everyone who shared ideas tonight. Those who were scheduled to speak, those who heard the ideas and they felt that spark in the mind, came up and they had the bravery to come up and share with themselves, and especially the team. You've done well, so I hope you remember tonight and continue to take it with you. So, no, initially we had a Kevin Codrington who was scheduled to speak. I don't know if Kevin is here as yet or he's willing to speak. No? Okay, no worries. So Roy, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Before Prime Minister speaks, the gentleman, the youngster footballer from the community college, what's your name again? Joshua. There was something he said that I thought was important because it spoke to community. It wasn't just about sport. It was about community and the sense that the guys play together, they live together, they interact together. It is more than just a football team. I think that's an important message that ought to go out with you tonight. Now, since we started Ideas Forum in January in St. Lucie, we have tried to bring to the audience a sense of where government is going in making life easier for citizens. And a lot of it has to do with digitization and using technology to make the life of Barbadians a lot easier. Now, one of the departments that for a long time has taken a lot of lashes, and rightly so, has been the Barbados Licensing Authority. And we have been working through the Barbados Licensing Authority and the Barbados Revenue Authority to make life a lot easier for Barbadians. We are going to show you a video, now it's a very short video, of one of the changes that has taken place that is supposed to help you to take away the long lines that now operate or had operated at the Licensing Authority for a long time and renewing the registration of vehicles. This is now an electronic process, just like how you can log on and get your certificate of character, police certificate of character. The system is now automated for registering private vehicles. So when you pay your insurance, the information goes from the insurance company straight to the records of the Licensing Authority. When you now log on to the Licensing Authority, you just go through and create an account, put in your information, such as your the VIN number on your vehicle, the registration number and such like, and it tells you, print your registration certificate. You keep it on your phone, the police stops you, you have it there, you have a registered vehicle. You don't leave your house, you don't go to the Pine And that's that. The next step is going to come with driver's licenses, but I'm not going to tell you about that tonight. Selwyn, roll the video from Barbados Revenue Authority.
Hey Barbados! Renewing your private or commercial vehicle registration got easier and more convenient. Introducing the Digital Vehicle Registration Card. Go to portal.bra.gov.bb to register and download your vehicle registration card online. Here's how. Make sure your vehicle insurance is valid and up to date. Also, have your license plate, chassis, and engine or VIN numbers ready. When on the portal, go to Vehicle Registration Card and select Download or Print. You'll first need to create an account by entering your email address and creating a password for this purpose. Select Taxpayer if you are the legal owner of the vehicle, or Tax Agent if you're doing it on behalf of someone else or for an entity. Next, enter the confirmation code sent to the email address. Then, follow the prompts to complete the account profile registration. You'll be asked to complete information related to the registration type selected. Now you're set up and your account is activated. On your dashboard, go to Vehicle Registration Card and use the form to access the registration card. Enter your license plate, chassis, and engine or VIN numbers. No dashes. Once your insurance information has been submitted by your insurance company and it matches what's in the licensing system, you will receive a digital vehicle registration card. Download it and save it on your phone or print it. That's it. So skip the trip. Ensure your insurance is up to date and access your digital vehicle registration card online, not inline. Visit portal.bra.gov.bb today.
Prime Minister wants to say a few words, but we're going to put her on hold for a minute because apparently there are some other people who want to make a contribution, have some suggestion. So, Melissa? Is Melissa the only one, or is there somebody else after Melissa? Natasha? Latasha?
All right, good night, everybody. First of all, I want to say good night to Madam Prime Minister, Senior Ministers, Dr. Dukas, Attorney General, and other members of Parliament, and everyone else that's here. First of all, my colleague, let me call him that, Matthew, he had spoken about St. Elizabeth Primary. Now, he would have said St. Elizabeth has a declining role, a role of probably 30, around that number. And he would have alluded to around 30 or so, correct? A small number. So he had spoken to the fact about maybe it should be closed, you know, put the other children at different schools. I disagree. I disagree because I believe that a community should have a primary school. Initially, it was there for a purpose in terms of whether it was transportation, whether it was convenience. But what I think we should do as a, well, what I think the Ministry of Education should do is to find out the reason why it has declined, what has caused it to decline. Could it be the programs? There aren't enough programs at the school. Could it be other resources? Could it be convenience? Because some persons, I believe, in terms of where they work, they would maybe move the child to a school that is close to work. And, you know, because obviously I would not feel comfortable. I have a 10-year-old daughter, so I would not feel comfortable with anybody picking up my daughter from school. So if that's the case, why not then look at after-school program? You know, homework programs, activities after school, so that you don't have to move your child out of St. Joseph or to St. Bernard's or St. Joseph's primary school, but the child can remain at St. Elizabeth. You're not able to get home by 4:35, but there's an after-school program, a safe after-school program that can keep your child until you get home. Apart from that, another idea would be to, as I said, not close the school, because I see that as, you know, destroying the linkage between community and school. Yeah, that's that. I have an idea also for the former Andrews factory. I think somebody else would have alluded to it as well, turning it, you know, maybe not as upscale as Hammond's, but something along that line. Local market. You know, we have persons in St. Joseph who does leather craft. So does shoes, bags, belts. You know, it will be employment for those persons as well. We have hundreds of tourists every week driving by in safaris going Bathsheba, they go all over St. Joseph, but they have to pass Andrews. So, you know, turning that into something that could bring in money for the economy, it would be a good idea, instead of seeing the galvanize all around it for years now. Right. You know, do something with it instead of just letting it be there. Turn it into the market. It can also be a place where persons can go and have workshops, song theater, stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
I believe we have a next, LaSasha. Said it correctly, LaSasha? LaSasha, okay, but the floor is yours, LaSasha.
Hi, good night, everyone. My name is LaSasha Lane. I am a pro-Josephine, born and bred. Was a part of the regathering committee. Our activities for the month of April, I would say, was well attended. We had a lot of activities. Our month was adventure, so indeed we had a lot of adventure. I can speak for myself as well as the community when I say that it was an excellent month. Our regathering activities have shown how community initiatives are very important for the community, that engagement. We had our fun day at Grantley Island School with the community. It felt so good to see persons, young and old, getting out there and the entertainment was great, but getting out there and being involved with each other. So that is something that I would like to see bring back to St. Joseph. Our activity in Bathsheba, we haven't had activities on the east in a very, very long time. So bringing back activities on the east, this is something that I know that we will look forward to. It would be a pity to see another 5 years go by without something like regathering. So I would like to bring forth the idea of, even if it's not a whole month full of activities, but if we can have at least some activities funded by the government, where it could be cultural, it could be sporting activities, that we can get persons out there, get the community out there, get young persons involved as well. So that is something that I would like to see going on a yearly basis, if that can be funded by the government. Another thing that I want to mention as well would be, I have someone from the diaspora that would have sent in their idea to me, so I don't want to go without mentioning her idea. And she would have mentioned staying active is essential for maintaining good health especially for those persons up in age. So she's asking what staff senior centers or daytime exercise programs are available throughout the parish that provide accessible options for older adults. So those persons up in age that they can still come out and have some, say, yoga activities or some kind of activities that get them out of the house, that they will still be involved as well.
Thank you, LaSasha. You were here first, but you shared some of the good ideas at the end, so I appreciate you coming up and sharing still. No problem. So just a last count, is anyone else would like just to share an idea that you've had, probably burning deep down that you want to tell us? Going once, going twice? Sold. So I just had it over at this point to the MP for the area, the Honorable Dale Marshall. I'm sure, of course, he is no stranger to you. He's coming with ideas as well, I'm sure.
No. Let me thank you. Our moderator said it, but we've now had, this is the 4th Ideas Forum, and I've been to the others, and this has been a spectacular success. And I'm so pleased to be able to have another generation of Barbadians. In our quiet moments, we worry about where Barbados is going. And these fine young men who were brave enough to stand before us, and they took a little bit of coaching and a little bit of encouragement, but it demonstrated to us that we really have tremendous talent. And St. Joseph has tremendous talent, and we're all so proud of you. For previous years, we had the Parish Speaks, and I don't know, I think the Prime Minister would agree that they really became venting opportunities. And while that has its place, I think there was much wisdom in asking, in perhaps when you point at somebody, their fingers pointing back at you. So there was much wisdom in trying to find a different way of engaging with our constituents, with our parishioners. And I'm so happy that for the first time, we now have an engagement where our young men, where our older folk, our various community leaders, and those who are not community leaders, have taken the opportunity to come out and speak forcefully. First of all, it tells us what the issues are that you're concerned about, but it also puts us in a space where we say, perhaps for the first time, it isn't all about what government can or should do. It is often as much what are those things that we can promote and do ourselves. So before the Prime Minister comes, and I think she's ready now, let me thank you all, first of all, for a wonderful regathering month. St. Joseph has been spectacular. I want to publicly thank all of the members of the team. And LaSasha, I am so very much in agreement with you that we shouldn't wait another 5 years or another 4 years to have a regathering. April is now ours, forever. And we have to find a mechanism. Don't know how we can fund it, but we need to make it our business that April of 2026, that we find a way to do some more gathering. You guys did a great job, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Prime Minister?
Thank you very much, AG. Good night to everyone. And I apologize for being a little late. I had a CARICOM meeting, but I wanted to be here at all costs. And I came in to hear these fine young men. And I want, first of all, to congratulate all of you, not just for winning the tournament, but for the manner in which you have engaged with us tonight. Because to me, that is the real victory. And I really, really, really want to tell you that. And my 2 youngsters here promised me next time they're going to do it too. And I say so because one of the things that we have to master as a people is the ability to look in people's eyes and speak. And if we can do that with confidence, we don't have to agree on everything, But if we can articulate how we feel and do so with respect, then that is a major, major, major step. I'm going to share a story that I have shared publicly before, but I feel moved to share it again tonight. When I was about your age, 15, I went and did one of those summer jobs. The one problem was I never got paid for it. But don't mind, because that is part and parcel of it too. And my uncle Elombe was at the NCF at the time. I remember 15, 16, something around there. And it was stage management. So it didn't matter whether you weren't getting paid, because you just wanted the excitement of being in the do. But I watched him a day when some fellas from St. Andrew called and said that they wanted stage and tents. I know, right there in West Terrace, the warehouse right there, and they had the stage and the tents in there. And he told them no. I said, well, when he got off the phone, I said, but how you could tell the people no when you all got things there? He said, if I had told them yes, they would think that it is as easy as getting in a supermarket and taking something off the shelf all the time. But when he told them no, he told them, you know Mr. So-and-so who got the shop at the top of wherever hill it was? He said, well, go by him. He got 2 lorries. Ask him to borrow the 2 lorries and let that be the stage. And when you finish, go by so-and-so who got the mechanic shop, and he got some tarpaulin that he's got outside to spread over. Ask him and borrow the tarpaulin from him. And he said, whenever done, beg for the electricity. If not, you're going to have to offer a day's work, helping up around the place to get the equivalent of what the electricity will cost the man who can give the electricity for the show. I give this example because the one thing he taught me then was that what was more important than giving the kids everything off the shelf, which government can always do, was that it taught them first the art of self-reliance, but secondly, more importantly, it made people who would not normally talk with each other learn to talk with each other across generations, and in some instances across the country, across different classes. And that is what Barbados needs more than anything else. And that is why, and I say it publicly, Dexter, we have a declining population, so it's probably what, about 3,000 at the older end of the school population, and at the younger end at primary is coming up now to between 2,200, 2,300 a year. When I was Minister of Education, we had about 4,300 people every year 30 years ago. You're now almost half of that. So that when people talk about declining school populations, no government has reduced the number of teachers, and we don't want to. And rather than reducing the number of teachers, we say, look, let us guarantee a place in pre-primary, because the country has guaranteed education from 5 to 16. Let us step it back 2 years and guarantee from 3 to 16 to start with, and where necessary, keep persons beyond 16. Even the ones that are giving trouble, we've asked the chief education officer, talk to the principals and let us get them to go back to school in uniform, stop sending people out of school at 16 in the middle of the school year. It is nonsense. I said it when I was Minister of Education. I'm horrified to hear that it was happening again. Stop it. And let the Defense Force or the Barbados Youth Advance Corps pick up these kids from school, carry them into a more structured program, and bring them back at the end of the day, so that we do not send them out of school to sit down on a block. Same way that I was horrified to learn that at Edna Nichols, all of the protocols change. And we've had to insist that they change back. Same way Alma Paris was closed down by the last government, have said, open it back at all costs. It's now been opened back. So these things are critical, but what I'm prepared to do is that there is no way that we should not be able, and it will be a priority for us. Dale knows how I feel about it. If you have youngsters who can train to be the best that they can be across every single discipline, including surfing, let us know, and the government will find a way to finance it. Because when we get people who have purpose and who have the ability to move, next thing Ilombe taught me, I said, why you spend all your time in NIFCA focusing on the teachers in the school system? He said, because the teachers are the ones who help give us scale. And when you have scale, you don't only have performers, you have followers, you have audience. And that's the point you guys were making here, that you want support also, so that when you go out to play, the people from the community, yes, you're going to have to stop watching the program that you want to watch, or the hour that you were planning to sleep, come outside and support the community. If you don't have an audience, you don't have the capacity to be able to lift the sport or the culture where it needs to go, or the show where it needs to go. So I really want to urge you, this conversation, as Dale and the moderators have said, is inspiring, but it will only mean something if the community recognizes that the first obligation is with them. And I know what it is to have hosted a football tournament. And I know how difficult it was to get people to come out and to be able to be there, to be an audience. Everybody want to talk about it on the side, oh, you hear about that and you this, but they don't come out and support. And therefore, I want us to practice the art of followership. If you're not a good follower, you cannot have good leaders among you. And that is what these youngsters need as well, not just the absolute skill and discipline of training, etc. I heard that, Kenny, you gave a number of ideas which I hope will be taken up by BTII and others in terms of interpretation centers and different other ways. This parish, along with a number of the other parishes in the Scotland district, are special. And this is what makes Barbados uniquely attractive, because anytime I bring anybody around Barbados, from the Secretary General right back of the UN to the head of the IMF to whoever, first of all, they do not believe that this country has so many different geographical features on 166 square miles. They just don't believe it. Secondly, what we take for granted is that that creates a microcosm for everybody of what is entirely possible. So you can go and have different experiences depending on which part of the country you're in. We do not have, in my view, sufficient product to command people to have interests. And I maintain that the first tourist is a Bajan. If a Bajan doesn't want to come and see what you are offering, why you think a tourist is going to want to come and see it? So the first tourist must be a Bajan. And if the first tourist is a Bajan, then that in and of itself should help finance the viability of the particular product. So whether it is hiking, whether it is safari tours, whether it is farm to table, whatever it is, there is the possibility to create more meaningful activity for Bajans first, and then by extension, when you go somewhere and say, what you always do around here? What do people do when they come here? That's when you then get the tourists. Now, we talk about football, but how many parts of Barbados host surfing? No, you can surf down by Duppies, you can surf other areas, but this is the Mecca. This is the Mecca. So can you see the people who like cricket looking at Kensington Oval and looking past it? It's the third most iconic ground in the world. What does Kelly do when he hears Bashba Big? And fly from where? Wherever he is in the world. Kelly Slater. Wherever he is in the world. Once the waves are a certain way in Barbados, in Bashuba, he makes it his business to come. Now, I want to criticize him too, because people come to meetings and criticize us. But how long have you been working on the documentary for surfing? No, I am happy to know because I should have been watching it tonight. But my point is this, and why is that documentary important? What's the oldest person you had in there talking about surfing? Okay. How many of y'all would have believed that a 105-year-old woman would be talking about surfing in the water 80 years ago, 90 years ago? We have a history. And unless we tell the story, we're not going to have people appreciate the significance of it. And the reason is that you have to respect the water. Just like you have to respect the roads. Nobody don't go in a road and cross in front of traffic, no? Therefore you gotta respect the water. But you have people who have grown up here associated with the water either as surfers or fishermen. And the question is, how do we get more youngsters in this parish involved in surfing and involved in the maritime aspects of this parish? And I want to put that challenge out to you. I am prepared to support it. I'm not talking about surfers from over and away. I'm talking about surfers from St. Joseph, St. Andrew, and St. John to start with. And if we can get a club together in the same way that I'm saying to Dexter and the others, I know you plan to go away with your son for the 2 years, and Matt Fingal said it to us at estimates, that the difference is that what you may consider an afternoon of training is just one part of training with the Brazilians and the others. And I know it. People watch Arturo tapping and say, boy, he can play saxophone real good. But how many people know that Turo sit down and play the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and to develop the circular breathing? Because without the circular breathing, you can't carry the long notes. You look at Gabby, when he's singing Bridgetown Market, what's happened? You understand? The lungs is what is carrying him to hold those notes. And the problem that I have with this country at this point in time is that we've gotten into a level of complacency where we don't appreciate that nothing comes without hard work. You have to put in the work. And if you don't put in the work, you can't get the rewards. Okay? So don't ever, and Sahara St. John once told me when I was young like y'all, don't ever look at nobody and envy them, because you don't know what they've gone through to be walking, how they're walking, and doing what they're doing. Your responsibility is to put in the work. And that is why people may say, and some of my MPs may even say, another night out. I insist on us engaging in communities like this, because this is the only way you're going to get the interaction. Governments are not omnipotent. Governments don't know everything. And if you don't create opportunities for people to engage and speak, the country will not benefit and move where we can move. So I want to issue some challenges. One is the surfing for St. John, St. Andrew, St. Joseph. The second one is in relation to the fellowship. And that was a me issue in the challenge. That is these youngsters. You heard them here just now, asking the members of this community and the wider parish to come out and support them. And there has to be a few of you as older people taking responsibility to be able to pick up the phone and say, our boys playing X place, our boys doing Y, our boys doing whatever, our girls doing whatever. Come out and let us support them. And if you can't do that, then you can't sit back and say, oh Lord, look how the youth gone. How the youth get so? How are you going to do that? And the last one is to anchor them. A gun, and you can see me say over and over, a gun does not walk, a gun does not talk. It has one purpose: to kill or to hurt and maim. It does not get up on its own and shoot anybody. Without a human being taking it up and using it, it has no purpose. And while we and the AG and the others are on the front line of trying to minimize the importation of guns, the reality is that they're here, and there are some countries like Trinidad that is even talking about legalizing it for every household, which is going to make it fully accessible across the region in ways that we really have to sit down now and think and talk. So the most important thing is, why are people in here, why have you never taken up a gun and used it? Because you know it's wrong. You understand? And those who think that is sexy soon come to understand that it is fatal. And part of the difficulty is that we live in a world where between this and video games, and how many times you get killed when you play a video game? Get killed about 30 times in the morning and go and get a glass of lemonade and come back and sit down. Get killed another 20 times and go and get something to eat and come back and sit down. And you start to believe in your immortality, that you can live forever. And part and parcel of what we have to do is to have those active conversations in our households, in our schools, in our churches, across the media, reminding persons that the only way, and I can leave you with this, how did Africa become subjected by a handful of Europeans? Through gunpowder, through guns. So that guns gave them an advantage that they would not otherwise have had against the populations in Africa, which were much, 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 much larger. So can you imagine what would happen if we don't decide to take control? And that is why I say this is not a battle for governments alone. This is a battle for those in the houses. This is a battle for those in the communities. Because you're the one that's going to know when your child comes home with a big gold chain that you know you ain't buy for him. Who give it to him? Worse still, your daughter. Who give it to her? Sparrow had a song that he tried to make cute at the end, but it had a good beginning. My mother tell me don't drive with strangers in the motor car. You understand? And there are a number of things that we have to reinforce in our communities and in our parents. And you're going to hear me talk over and over and over. So if you hear it before, don't mind, because you may have heard it for the first time, somebody hear it for the second time, somebody ain't hear it yet at all. But if this country, and I say so conscious that I am going to be 60 this year. So what I got left in me ain't what you got ahead of you. And if you don't take, and this country don't take it seriously, there's a good old saying, hard ears, you want to hear? How it finish? You know it, right? Own way you're going to feel. So that we have, don't mind the politics, don't mind the partisanship. Randall, I see you here. Dale, I see you here. Ryan, I see you here. When all is said and done, they can fight or agree in Parliament. It is the community that must take control and ensure that our young people do not become subject to the kind of foolishness with guns and foolishness with gangs. At the end of the day, be a member of a team as opposed to a gang. And at the end of the day, look at the pride you have felt coming here, wearing that medal, speaking and engaging with persons. And this is going to require not just me talking, but every one of us. And whether it is the Bible say in 2s and 3s or 4s and 5s or 200s and 500, all of us must be ready to stand up and step up. And that's what I asked us late last year, step up. And if we don't, this is not a political call. This is a call for Barbados. When all is said and done, PNM lost, others lost, people retire, I could be gone no time at all. But at the end of the day, it is the purpose with which we focus on building communities and by extent building a country. If the government didn't maintain the school, what would happen? Start to fall. Same with your house. So it is to get people to understand that the same way you're going to tell me, man, that's my right. I got a right to free speech. I got a right to be able to go where I want. I got a right to this. But start telling me what was your responsibility. Start telling me what was your duty to keep up the house of Barbados. Because same way you got a responsibility home at you to keep up your house, you got a responsibility as a Bajan to keep up the house of Barbados. So I just want to share those things, but I felt inspired more so by these youngsters, because at the end of the day, this is your country. And what I heard from you as well is that we can continue to, as I have always said, to produce global citizens with Bajan roots. It should not escape you that yesterday was National Heroes Day. It should not escape you that the two living national heroes of Barbados have been there and appointed out of what? Excellence. Commitment to excellence globally. And both of them can claim to be one of the greatest of all times. Do I need to say more? Do I need to say more? Okay, I hear you. You understand what I'm saying? And the globe, how you define it, is as important. Nicholas Branca just had the concert down the road. Grammy winner in his 20s. You can say Nicholas is one of the best bass players, or Arthur is one of the best saxophonists. And people will say, man, I ain't sure this. But you frame it and say, he's one of the best Caribbean jazz bass players in the world. Nobody can touch you. One of the best Caribbean jazz saxophonists in the world. Nobody can touch you. So it is how you frame the argument, how you frame what it is you're saying, and that becomes a basis for inspiration for it. So if you either become, I would love you to become one of the best in the world, but I definitely want you to be the best footballer that ever came out of the Caribbean. Okay? So I want us to remember that, not just to these youngsters, but all the rest of you here, in your church, in your homes, in your school. On the point of St. Elizabeth School, trust me, I also will support it remaining open for one other reason. It is perhaps one of the most beautiful schools that I've seen anywhere in the Caribbean. Many years ago, Alice would tell you, we tried to start after-school programs and homework programs. You know what makes an after-school program work? Sorry? Not only parents. Parents from where? Parents from the community in which you live. I challenge you again. You put together the after-school program, school by school across this country, particularly to stop everybody from going to Charles F. Broome and Luther Thorne. It's foolishness. It's foolishness. And what you do is rob yourself of the ability to pass on knowledge in the community, because you just then become a number in a factory down in town instead of being specially nurtured and guided in the community in which you're born, and people around then to get a sense and say, look, that's Dexter Child, that boy can't be out there. So I ask people all the time, you think Usain Bolt friends and family let him drink brandy or smoke herb at 15 or 16 or 17? And if they did, Charles, where would he be? Never winning nothing. How you gonna smoke herb or drink brandy and win a penalty or extra time? Can't. So that's why I say that the first time you win a game first off the field before you win it on the field. Because it is how you treat to how you live and how you practice that will determine whether you are good, fair, or great. You get out what you put in. And I therefore hope that these kinds of conversations will inspire others across the country to be able to recognize that, look, Barbados is special. How many countries, 166 square miles, have produced the quality of people who have had global prominence in cricket, in entertainment now, in drafts, in what we do? We are thought leaders. You understand? In medicine and public health, we led the entire region and hemisphere. We are special. But if we stop treating ourselves as being special and stop putting in the work, we will become average and also ran. And there is nothing to be gained or nothing for us to aspire to if we are just also ran. So thank you for this wonderful evening. Thank you once again for making sure that we enjoy the salubrious breezes of St. Joseph. And let us agree that this Ideas Forum is not a talk shop, but it's going to require participation and partnership across the community. I'm going to meet you halfway, and if I have to work and find ways of supporting and financing a number of these projects, I will, but I need other people. I'm not going to support a one-man project. I'm not going to support a project that gives me 5 people or 7 people or 10 people. I am fooling you. I am fooling you. But if I have a project that is genuinely addressing scale and is for the long haul, you got me 150%, and I can walk the world to help you find the support that we need in order to get those things done. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. I just want to thank everyone at this point. For coming out. It's been an amazing session. We've heard that it's been the best Ideas Forum. Certainly, it's been one of the most interesting ones that I've been a part of. So thank you, and thank you to my co-host as well, Tahir, for making this an amazing night. So to everyone, travel safely, and to those in St. Joseph, continue to embrace the society and community that you're part of. So thank you once again. Oh yeah, and see you in St. John, next parish that we head to.
Pleasure as always.